We live in an era that has mastered the art of exposure, but forgotten the mystery of the interior life. If we look at the world around us, we see a culture that has normalized the constant, aggressive display of the human body, transforming what was once considered sacred and private into a commodity for public consumption. We walk through our cities, we scroll through our devices, and we are bombarded by a visual language that screams for attention, appealing directly to the most instinctual layers of our biology. It is a world that Padre Pio, even in his own time, foresaw with a heavy heart, a world where the virtue of modesty is not just ignored, but actively mocked as a relic of a repressed past. But beneath this loud, confident exterior of modern liberation, there is a quiet, suffocating crisis taking place in the souls of millions. There is a profound distance between the smiling faces we present in public, the curated lives we post online, and the silent, grinding struggle that many faithful Christians endure when the doors are locked and the lights go down. And if you've ever felt that quiet struggle when the screen is glowing and the house is asleep, write one word in the comments: fighting. Not to expose yourself, but so you know you're not alone. We are told that we are free, that the old rules were chains, and that to follow every impulse is the definition of authenticity. Yet, if we are honest, this so-called freedom often feels more like a compulsion. We see good men and women, people who love God, people who attend Mass and strive for holiness, finding themselves trapped in cycles of behavior they despise. They do not want to look, but they look. They do not want to click, but they click. They do not want to dwell on the fantasy, yet they find the sanctuary of their minds invaded by images that disturb their peace. This is not merely a matter of breaking a rule. It is a matter of spiritual fragmentation. When the exterior life is flooded with noise and imagery, the interior castle of the soul, that place where God dwells, becomes cluttered, noisy, and dim. Padre Pio, in his profound wisdom as a confessor, understood that the battle for purity was never just about the body. It was always about the direction of the heart's gaze. He did not view these struggles through the lens of modern psychology alone, though he understood human suffering deeply. He viewed them through the lens of eternity. He saw that when we normalize the intake of impurity, we are not just consuming entertainment, we are slowly blinding the spiritual eye that allows us to see God. We are trading the peace of the Holy Spirit for a fleeting rush that leaves us emptier than before. This is not about shame, it is about diagnosis. It is about recognizing that the profound sadness, the anxiety, and the sense of distance from God that many feel are often symptoms of a soul that has been overexposed to the spirit of the world. We must begin by admitting that the culture has lied to us. It has promised that we can feed the eyes without poisoning the soul. But the spiritual reality is that what we let in determines what we become. If you are seeking to reclaim the peace of your soul and walk a path of true interior freedom, I invite you to subscribe to our channel. Join us as we explore the depths of Catholic spirituality and the wisdom of the saints, supporting one another in this journey toward the light. Imagine the scene that plays out in countless homes, a scenario that has become the modern battlefield of spiritual warfare. It is late at night. The house is quiet. The demands of the day, the work, the family obligations, the noise of traffic have finally ceased. You are physically exhausted, yet your mind is wired, restless, seeking a landing place. You are alone in a room, perhaps illuminated only by the blue glow of a screen. This is the hour of vulnerability. It is in this silence that the defenses of the will are at their lowest. The body aches for comfort, for a release of tension, for some sensation that affirms you are alive and feeling. There is a specific heaviness in the air, a spiritual humidity that seems to press down on the chest. In this moment, the screen in your hand or on your desk ceases to be a tool of communication and transforms into a portal of temptation. It offers a promise, a moment of escape, a moment of pleasure, a moment where the loneliness or the stress dissolves into sensation. You know, deep in your conscience, where this path leads. You remember the feeling from the last time, the immediate crash of regret, the bitter taste of time wasted, the hollow sensation in the chest that feels like a spiritual hangover. Yet, the gravitational pull of the habit is immense. It feels physical, like a thirst that demands water, even if the water is salt. The images on the screen are not real people in that moment. They are reduced to objects, pixels of fantasy that demand nothing from you but your gaze. This is where the tragedy occurs. It is not just in the act itself, but in the reduction of the human person, both the person on the screen and the person watching, into something less than they were created to be. The sanctity of the bedroom, which should be a place of rest and prayer, becomes a marketplace of desires. When the act is done, the silence returns, but it has changed. It is no longer a peaceful silence. It is a heavy, accusing silence. The screen goes dark, and you are left with your own reflection in the black glass. The relief was a lie. The stress returns, compounded by a new weight, the knowledge that you have once again traded your birthright as a child of God for a bowl of lentils, for a fleeting shadow. This sensory experience, the blue light, the racing heart, the subsequent emptiness, is the specific texture of modern lust. It is a cycle that mimics the longing for God but inverts it, turning the soul inward upon itself, locking it in a small, dark room of self-gratification where the air slowly runs out. And then the dialogue begins. It is a conversation that happens entirely within the corridors of the mind, a debate between two voices that every struggling Christian knows intimately. One voice is seductive, rational, and dangerously soothing. It whispers, "It's not that big of a deal. You're under so much pressure. God understands your weakness. You aren't hurting anyone. This is a private matter. Everyone does this. It's just a biological release." This voice is a master of minimization. It seeks to anesthetize the conscience, to frame the sin as a form of self-care or a necessary coping mechanism for the trials of life. It tells you that you can repent later, that grace is cheap, that you can manage this dual life without consequence. But there is another voice, quieter but persistent, echoing from the depths of your baptism. It is the voice of the conscience, which Padre Pio often described as the primal echo of God's law in the heart. It asks, "Is this who you are? Is this why you were created? Do you not feel the loss of peace? Do you not see how this weakens your will for the things that truly matter?" This voice does not scream, it invites, but in the heat of the struggle, it is often drowned out by the clamor of desire. The internal conflict creates a profound weariness. You make promises in the morning, "Never again, Lord," only to find those promises dissolving like mist when the fatigue of the evening sets in. This cycle of broken promises breeds a specific kind of spiritual despair. You begin to doubt your own sincerity. You wonder if you are even capable of holiness. The enemy of our human nature, whom Padre Pio fought with such ferocity, loves this state of mind. He does not need to possess a soul to destroy it. He only needs to discourage it. He wants you to believe that this struggle is your identity, that you are defined by your worst moments. He wants you to stop fighting. He whispers that the standards of the saints are impossible for you, that you are destined to be mediocre, a slave to your impulses. This internal dialogue is the true battlefield. It is not just about a physical act. It is about the erosion of hope. It is a battle over the narrative of your life. Will it be a story of grace triumphing over weakness, or a story of gradual surrender to the lower instincts? To break this cycle, we must step back and look at this through the spiritual lens of a master of souls like Padre Pio. We must move beyond the surface behaviors and identify the three root spiritual disorders, the three sins that underpin these struggles. These are not merely items on a checklist, but fundamental misdirections of the soul. The first is the sin of the unguarded eye. In the spirituality of Padre Pio, the eyes are the windows of the soul. When we allow the eyes to wander without discipline, to feast on images that degrade the human person, we are not just looking, we are inviting a spirit of disorder into our interior temple. We are filling our memory with images that will return to haunt us in prayer. This is the sin of visual gluttony, treating the beauty of God's creation as a buffet for our consumption. The second root is the sin of solitary self-worship. This is the hard truth about sins of the flesh committed alone. While the world calls it release, the spiritual reality is that it is an act of turning the capacity for love inward. We are designed for self-gift, to pour ourselves out in love for God and neighbor. When we turn that energy back upon ourselves, seeking pleasure divorced from union and life, we are practicing a form of idolatry where the self becomes the God. It creates a spiritual callousness, making us less sensitive to the needs of others and more enslaved to our own comfort. It is a rejection of the cross, for it seeks a resurrection without a sacrifice. The third, and perhaps most insidious, is the sin of despairing presumption. This occurs when we consent to the sin in our minds before we even commit it with our bodies, and then immediately presume that God's mercy is a license to continue. It is the attitude of, "I will sin now and confess later." This wounds the heart of Christ deeply because it treats his precious blood as a safety net for our rebellion rather than the price of our redemption. Padre Pio, who bore the wounds of the Passion, would remind us that mercy is infinite, but it is not a toy. To abuse mercy is to harden the heart. These three, the unguarded eye, the self-worship of the body, and the presumption of the mind, are the true enemies. They are symptoms of a love that has lost its true north. But let us be clear, Padre Pio was not a judge who delighted in condemnation. He was a physician who identified the disease so that the cure could be applied. He knew that behind every lustful impulse was a misguided search for love, a thirst for the infinite that was trying to quench itself at a muddy puddle. There is a place where this thirst is finally quenched and the muddy waters are washed away. It is the confessional. For many, the idea of confessing sexual sins is terrifying. The shame is burning. The fear of judgment is paralyzing. We imagine the priest will be shocked or that God is disgusted with us. But if we could see the confessional through the eyes of Padre Pio, our fear would turn to tears of gratitude. There are countless accounts inspired by the life of the saint of Pietrelcina, where penitents approached the tribunal of penance trembling, burdened by years of impure habits. They expected wrath. Instead, once the sin was vomited out, named, owned and handed over, they found a peace that the world cannot give. Padre Pio was known to be stern with those who made excuses, with those who did not truly intend to change. But for the soul that was genuinely broken, for the sinner who hated their sin and wept for their weakness, he was the tenderest of fathers. He understood that the shame you feel is actually a grace. It is the pain of a soul that knows it was made for something better. In the confessional, the blood of Christ touches the specific wound of your sin. It breaks the legal rights or the hold that the enemy claims to have over your habits. It is not magic. It is a sacrament. It restores the dignity that was lost in the dark room. We must understand that confession is not a car wash where we just get cleaned up to go get dirty again. It is a resurrection. When you confess these sins, you are not just wiping a slate clean, you are receiving a new infusion of strength to fight the next battle. The shame dissolves when it is exposed to the light. The devil works in secrecy. He loses his power when the secret is told. Do not let the enemy keep you from this sacrament. Do not wait until you are perfect to go. You go because you are sick and need the doctor. The greatest victory over the devil is not never falling. It is getting up immediately and with humility. Every single time. But how do we live this out when we leave the church and return to the bedroom, to the computer, to the stress of life? We need a strategy, a micro-ritual of defense. We cannot rely on willpower alone. Willpower fatigues, but grace endures. Inspired by the discipline of Padre Pio, we can adopt a simple physical response to the moment of temptation. The battle is usually lost in the first 3 seconds. When the thought enters or the image appears, do not argue with it. Do not debate it. The moment you engage in a debate with temptation, you have already stepped onto the enemy's ground. Instead, institute a physical interruption. If you are sitting, stand up. If you are in your room, walk out the door. Change your environment immediately. This breaks the hypnotic trance of the urge. Then use a short rhythmic prayer, an arrow prayer. Padre Pio loved the invocation of the holy names. Simply say, Jesus, I love you, or Mary, help me. Make the sign of the cross, not as a hasty gesture, but deliberately, touching the forehead, the chest, the shoulders, marking your body as territory that belongs to the Holy Trinity, not to the impulse. This is not superstition. It is a reordering of reality. It is reminding your flesh that it is subject to your spirit, and your spirit is subject to God. Keep a rosary in your pocket. You don't even have to pray the whole thing. Just holding it connects you to the reality of heaven. These small acts of courage, looking away, turning off the phone, walking out of the room, are unseen by the world, but in the eyes of God, they are magnificent victories. They are the martyrdom of the white, the silent dying to self that builds a saint. Do not despise these small victories. A mountain is climbed one step at a time. If you fall, do not despair. The only total failure is to stop trying. Let us end now in a moment of stillness. I want you to pause. Stop the noise of your mind. Stop the accusations. Place yourself in spirit at the foot of the cross, or perhaps in the quiet corner of an old church where Padre Pio might have prayed. Look at your hands. Look at your life. Acknowledge the fragility you feel, the desires that confuse you, the weakness that frightens you. Do not hide them. Offer them. Imagine holding that heavy, dark weight of your struggle, the lust, the habit, the shame in your hands. Now visualize yourself handing it over to Christ. He does not recoil. He does not look away in disgust. He takes it. He knows the clay of which you are made. He knows the pressure of the world you live in. In this silence, ask Him not just for self-control, but for a new heart. Ask Him to heal the root, the loneliness, the hunger for love that has gone astray. Lord, I am weak, but you are strong. I cannot do this alone. I give you my eyes, my mind, and my body. Reclaim me, wash me, make me new. Remain in this silence for a moment. Trust that the work of grace has begun. You are not defined by your sin. You are defined by His love. Walk forward in hope. Thank you for walking this difficult but necessary path with us today. I invite you to share in the comments below which part of this reflection spoke most deeply to your current struggle. Was it the concept of the internal dialogue, or perhaps the hope of the confessional? Your words might be the encouragement another soul needs to read today.